The title of the talk is Trying to Be Something Else Than You Are. I actually wanted to change the title of the talk, but yeah, I didn't get time before I went live because there were other things that needed to be adjusted, settings that needed to be adjusted. And I wanted to talk about forgiveness. Maybe I'll talk about that in the end, like true forgiveness. And maybe it comes in with that title of trying to be something else than you are. What is the name of the title? Just let me have one more look. Trying to be something else than you are, which is a nice title as well. That's such a beautiful title. Let's get deep and personal. I think on the human level, it's such a struggle to remain your authentic self while socializing. It's easy to do it in a spiritual group where everybody is understanding and open to this, but it's very difficult to do it, say, the holidays that are coming up with your family, like to remain authentic. It's actually a personal struggle that I have. Is my personality tends to be quite quiet, believe it or not, because I'm here yakkering away, and I'm not like a big chatter. I can be chatty about subjects that I'm interested in, but my natural flow would be to be more quiet. And I find it difficult in social situations to remain as quiet as I want to, predominantly through empathy of others, but it's not really empathy for others, but that's what it feels like, is that if you're quiet with other people feel like you have to talk, and they begin to get very insecure, and then I can see them getting insecure, and so I begin to want to rescue them from their insecurity, but it's really nothing to do with them in a way. It's my discomfort with their insecurity, because that's their karma to be insecure. It's something that I'm really working on at the moment, to try to allow people to be uncomfortable. And I have it a lot. I'm not like this natural extrovert, like Angelo that I interviewed. I don't know if any of you noticed, when I interviewed him, I just asked a couple of questions, and that was like the whole interview. And he's like more of an extrovert and like puts himself out there. Well, it's not that he just puts himself out there. Like when you meet him, he's very chatty and verbally dexterous. Whereas when I meet somebody, actually, I would just prefer to just be silent for a bit. And that would actually be my authentic way of being, just to take them in and be quiet, and just to build up trust and intimacy before there's lots of chit chat. But it's not what people are used to, and also it's not the way I live my life generally. Like, so when I am socializing, a big part of it is, when I'm doing, well, it's not really socializing, but when I'm being social, it's like doing one-to-one sessions or doing retreats, and then it's like even more exaggerated, because people have this like expectation of me, and they've seen me lots and they feel really intimate with me, and then I meet them and I'm like, hey, and then I just don't feel like saying anything else. And that's really, honestly, my authentic way of being often, is I really don't feel like saying anything after I've said the initial hey. But I often encourage myself to do that, to try to make the other person feel loved and accepted, because they're nervous, they've come into this unknown environment, and I feel like chatting will help them a bit. So I said, but I'm trying to actually change that and not do that and let them be uncomfortable, which is really painful for me. I find that painful. Like, so the nice thing to do is to be like, hey, how was your travel? Is your room okay? Just like these regular things which makes people feel loved and accepted into the group, and is really beautiful, but I'm just not the right character for that. It's not my natural mode of being, and I can feel it, like the pain of exerting myself and pushing myself to be more verbally dexterous. As a child, my mum actually was really quiet as a child, and as a child I was more quiet. Like, I didn't learn to speak till later in life through my neurodiversity, and I just wasn't very chatty. My mum, as an adult, my mum turned out to be very chatty. As a child, she was very quiet. And this is painful for me. This is something that I've been working on for a long time, prior to awakening and after awakening. It's something that I strive to. The pain of it is watching the other person be uncomfortable. Like, that's what gets me. It's not the being quiet with someone, or it's not the actual act of it. It's the pain of seeing them become weak and nervous and scurrying, and then like talking lots to try and cover up the silence. That sounds plausible. That sounds like, okay, yeah, she's, trying to be a nice person, but is it really the best thing in the world for me to try and do that? I don't know. Some people would say it is a good thing to do. Like, therapists might encourage that you want to try to like bridge that gap and make people feel more comfortable. From my inside, it feels really authentic just to not say anything and just to be quiet and just to like stand and stare at each other or look at the floor. Yeah. And now I'm exposing it, which is a really great thing, because it means that when we're on retreat together or when we're doing a one-to-one session, you know that about me, and you know that, if I'm being very verbally dexterous in the beginning, it tends to mean that I'm doing it because I'm wanting you to feel comfortable. Yeah. And I see every time I socialize as an opportunity to work on this. Like, this is my weakness, and it's my opportunity and my gift every time I socialize. And apart from that, I would say that that's my most inauthentic side, is that I chat too much sometimes in social situations. And some people might look at me and think that I don't chat enough, but that's my feeling, is that I chat too much in social situations. I would rather be more quiet. Yeah. So what about you? Do you know when you're being authentic or inauthentic? Sometimes we don't know what authentic or inauthentic is. To me, what I mean by inauthentic and authentic is, it's like I just feel there's this like natural flow that wants to come out, and then it's like in my body, maybe my chakra system or something like tenses up at certain situations, and then it bends like, and then something else comes out. So it bends often through the pain of something, and it's mostly in social situations. However, I would say in social situations, I'm often on the other side. Like, so there's this side of being pushed too much into verbal dexterity, but there's another side of me that is quite authentic as well. Like, a lot of the time. Like, apart from that, I tend to be like also quite authentic as well. But my difficulty is feeling sorry for the other person. That's my weakness. And so, yeah, it feels like it bends, like there is an energy that comes out, and then it bends, and it's like a painful bend to try to morph to the situation. And it's a conditioning, but it might also be genetic as well. We might be born with this predisposition, like over empathy. But I I presume it's also conditioning as well. Like as a child, that was conditioned into me that I must talk or I must be sociable. And I think it's from my mum as well. My mum, as a child, I think was quite quiet, and she was always told that she must talk and be social. And so now she's like super social and super chatty. But maybe it was always there in my mum. We don't know. Yeah. It's like when I first meet people, it's like I want to really experience them on the deeper level, like in that silence, and not rush into something, not like rush into old behaviors or something. It's like I really want to meet people in a more stillness and this like emptiness, because who's really meeting each other isn't these two personality structures. It's not two characters. Like what's actually meeting each other is this like vast space, and it's like really magnificent, this empty looking, this like one beingness, this one light energy that's popping up in these apparent two forms that are chatting each other. And it's like I really want to connect that first, and then when that's connected, then see what wants to come up. Like that's what I love in relating. I just find that so beautiful. Like that what you're looking at now is an apparent Lisa, but it's also yourself as this one beingness. And that's the same when you connect with anybody. Yeah. And it feels like flow, when you're authentic, you feel like this flow. It's not the end of pain or pleasure. These are things that arise. It's like a flow. Like it just organically comes out. Yeah. So that's what the experience is for me on the human level. And I didn't experience the awakening and the shift change that. It changed it to an extent. So the seeking energy dissipated from it. So I don't see my happiness as having good communication or the other person liking me, or if the other person's happy, that is like my happiness. Like, so it changed, like it all got a lot less, but there's still this urge, this empathy that arises in me so quickly to want to make the other person feel really comfortable and loved. And it's not even about them liking me. It's just that I zoom in so much into what the other person's feeling that it's almost as if it's my feeling. It's not even removed like I want them to like me. Like it would be easier maybe to stop that. But this one is like going in, and it's like I'm speaking to myself. It's, complicated and not. Yeah, so what is it that's authentic and not authentic in you? You can question below, and like how does that manifest? And then we've got this other side to us that's always authentic, like the non-duality side. So from the side of the absolute, from the side of this oneness that's manifesting as Lisa and the other characters, like it's absolute perfection. It doesn't mind if the character's authentic or not authentic. It's experiencing itself and loving itself for what it is. It's got no judgment. Here comes Khaleesi. Oh, my love! Hello! Hello! Yeah, she didn't make it fully to me because she comes in and has her dinner, you see. So she has to come in, hello, and then just run back to have her dinner. She's coming again! Hello! Yeah, so then there's this other energy that just doesn't mind, authentic or not authentic. It totally embraces every part of you. So in the Lisa, when she's being inauthentic, I think I just suddenly had a thought that maybe I made myself seem like I only did that at the beginning of conversations. It's predominantly at the beginning of conversations, but it also goes on into conversations. To say, if I'm with my partner's parents or something, then I will adjust myself to make them feel more comfortable in my presence, like won't be as weird or something. So there isn't that, I'm not trying to like there is, it does go into other parts of relating, and it's often to do with the empathy that I feel for the other people. I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable, and I don't want to dominate the situation with my personality, like be controlling or something. But I just had to say that because I was unsure whether I'd made a clear enough picture. I didn't want to be being deceptive or anything about myself or hiding stuff about myself. But yeah, from the absolute loves all of it. So even when Lisa is not acting fully in line with herself, the absolute is still there. That one light, love, energy, beingness is manifesting as Lisa being inauthentic, and really there is no control. Like Lisa is a puppet being moved, and that's the condition that's coming through her at the moment, and that's absolute love. That is love. It doesn't want you to be any different. It doesn't need you to be any different. But on the human level, we do have this desire to be more authentic because it feels better. It's, it feels more pure. Because most of us don't want to be hiding parts of ourselves. Or even though we're not being deceptive in not being authentic, but it's almost, it feels like that. It's like, when you really get down to the feelings of it, like we want to be ourself in every situation, like all of it, like our weirdness, our quietness. We want to be able to express everything, how we're feeling. Like it's a beautiful element of the human, and maybe it only comes with awakening. Like as you explore what it is to be human, then this part becomes more prevalent, that wants to be authentic. Like it might not be a desire of people that are just out of the education institutions, and like at work they might not have that desire. Their desire might be to have money. But I think when you get into this subject and you begin to authentically wake up, the desire to not have an internal and external world becomes more prevalent. So that's, I think, like what it feels like in flow is that it feels like my insides are the outsides in a way. I don't know if you can relate to that. Like I'm speaking this not having planned it, not having really thought about it, so it's all coming out a bit mishmash, but it's like not having a secret hidden world. And when I'm, being more chatty than I naturally would be, it feels like there is an inside world and I'm putting up a barrier to the other person. And I think that this is part of waking up, part of oneness, is that like the urge is to totally merge with all of this, with everything, not having these hidden manipulative agendas. Like we just want to be ourselves and show ourselves and be loved on the human level for ourselves. So this also like comes to the way that we interpret people. So I don't actually interpret people that are quiet as a problem. But actually a close relative of mine, like they really hate quiet people, and they think that quiet people are really rude, and they're always in my ear about like that they don't make effort, they're selfish, they're not very nice. Like, and I'm always like, I don't think that that's true. I think that, you know, that everybody's different, and you get some people, it's like dogs. Like Khaleesi is so reserved when she meets people, but when you get to know her, she's like more friendly and bubbly. And then you get other dogs that are like, hey, you're my friend, aren't you? And we're all really completely different, and we all should be respected. And it's not that this like really hyper dog that's like, yeah, let's be friends is like the epiphany of loving you. Like Khaleesi loves so much, but she just is like really reserved when she first meets people. She just wants to be ignored. We have a lot in common. I don't know if I want to be ignored, but I just like it to be quiet. Yeah, it's just like, what are your projections about other people when you meet them? Like, and do you need there to be vocals, the vocal instrument active, in order for you to feel comfortable about yourself? Like, I don't need for there to be chatting in order to feel comfortable about myself. Like, I can look at someone in silence and love them. And feel like they love me. I do. When I begin to see them like scurrying around really uncomfortable, I begin to have feelings. But if they feel comfortable with it too, I just think it's super beautiful. So what is it? And a lot of the time people are cut off. They don't even know. So you're interacting with people that are just in a nervous anxiety because they've got lots of seeking going on, and they're like, must talk, must be liked. And they have all these ideas about what being liked is or not being liked is. And this seeking creates a separation. There's the you there that's like vibrating in nervousness that needs the other to behave in a certain way in order for you to feel loved. And I'm not getting myself out of this. I'm totally aware that my empathy is that I'm uncomfortable with their uncomfortableness. Like, there is a part of me that wants to save them from their uncomfortableness. And you might think that's altruistic, but it's, in the end, it's, I mean, what is altruism? There is pain arises here when I see other pain, and that's got a nice side to it, but it's also okay to let people be uncomfortable. Roger used to be very firm on that. Like, why are you trying to save people from being uncomfortable? Just let them be uncomfortable. And I'd be like, sweet. And it's so beautiful. Like, to be really authentically yourself, it feels like you really line up with beingness. Like, when you're not being really authentically yourself, it feels like you curve off slightly, even though it can't really be that way. Like, no inside or outside world. There's just what's happening. And it's okay to have these old seeking patterns or these old patterns or conditions that come up that make us feel more apart from each other, but it's all illusory, but it's not really true. Like, we're all this one beingness looking at each other. So really, when I'm feeling uncomfortable about the other person's uncomfortableness, there isn't really anybody there that is uncomfortable. There is pure beingness looking at each other. Like love looking at love. And that's the total love affair. And it's so beautiful. And to really stand in that when you meet someone is so vulnerable. To look at them from that place is way more vulnerable than it is to be somebody that's got social anxiety or nervousness about meeting the other person. Because the human on the human level is nothing. Like it's when you're in that flow, like there is nothing relating to nothing. Even when there is this energy coming up trying to please the other or trying to make the other person feel better, it is nothing relating to nothing. But when you're not doing that, it feels more direct. There's such vulnerability. Like this one loving energy that's seeing beyond all forms, seeing beyond like the personality structure, the karmas, the illusions. It's like purely looking at itself, like the stillness looking at stillness. So intimate. Yeah, just gonna check that everything is still working. Yeah. It is still working. Work it, baby, work it. I mean, there is a really authentic side to me. My partner told me that the other day when I was at his parents' house, like I just started dancing. I didn't even know I did it. I just like sitting at the table. And I'm not trying to, like, when I say positive things about myself, I'm not trying to make me more special. There's like many a times throughout the day, I'm sure there's like real authenticity there. And then like there's something that comes up and there's a barrier, like an old conditioning that comes up. And that's what it feels like when I start talking to try to help the other person. It feels like I put a barrier up between us both. In a way, because I'm buying into the other person's game. But our society is so conditioned. You know, and I went out with my partner's family the other day. You know, can I really say to them who've got no idea about spirituality that this is too much talking for me now, I would like to be quiet? I mean, I can do these types of things, but it's like it's like these two different worlds meeting that's so different, eh? And I'm not trying to give a talk here with the solutions. I don't know the solutions. I find it hard in society as well. And I just share and we talk and we see what happens, and it might have an effect or make somebody think about something or change something. And then So on the human level, I haven't got the solutions, but on the absolute, like there is nobody meeting nobody there. There is this one beingness looking at itself through two different perspectives, seemingly, but it's like this love bundle energy. Like whoever you look at, the most grumpiest, rudest, meanest, nastiest person, somebody that you've got like so much karma with, so much uncomfortableness. This goes into forgiveness. Somebody that you really have a lot of hatred for on the human level, but beyond that, from the perspective of the looker, from the perspective of the experiencer, the true experiencer, is absolute forgiveness. There's absolute innocence. So when you're this Christmas with people where it's like the triggers are like boom, 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 and you're like, oh, doing the hokey cokey inside, or the imagined massacre of the family, like beyond that, from the experiencer perspective, it's love. It's love. It's love. Yeah, okay. Maybe I've done enough yaga. So if anybody's got any questions, you can ask through Zoom. I think it's in the box below, or I've pinned it to the chat. Or you can ask me through Skype, which is Lisa Cairns 12. Please make sure that you've got good audio, so a headset, and good internet connection. And please don't expose anything too personal, because this is going on the internet and I don't want to damage people in any way by them overexposing themselves. So please be careful with question asking, because I love you.